Hi everyone. I'd like to read another piece from Idries Shah Remembered and another piece by my father's friend, Russell Page. I've called it Content and Container. On one occasion, just after he had moved with his family into Langton House, a man arrived from Argentina. He said he had seen Shah in a dream and that he had left his job as a schoolteacher in Mendoza to make the long journey to find the teacher of teachers. When I asked Shah about such visitors, he sighed. What people need to know, he said, is that I have prepared the material in an exceptionally careful way, presenting it for one and all through my books. So there's no real need to cross 1,000 horizons to root me out, because I've given what I need to give in paper and ink. At that point, I asked Shah whether he minded being regarded as a guru. He sighed again, much more boisterously than before. Yes, I do mind it, he replied, because it wastes their time and because it does exactly the opposite of what I'm pointing out needs to be done. People like the Argentine man who just arrived would solve his problems if he simply thought for himself, rather than put his present and, worse still, his future in the hands of others. Another memory presents itself. While living in St. John's Wood, I tended to see Shah often when he stayed with his sister in the middle of the week at a house on Clifton Hill. In the winter, we would sit in the pair of open reception rooms which formed a kind of durbar, as he called it, and in the summer, we would sit in the garden. Always Shah would talk. He was the very best talker I've ever known and could talk about absolutely anything. It wasn't just about what he was saying, but about the way he said it. He spoke with humility and with sensitivity, utterly without arrogance. One evening in early spring, we were in the durbar at Clifton Hill, and Shah was telling me about his travels as a young man. He had described spending time in the Sudan and Arabia, and about being a guest of His Majesty King Abdulaziz ibn Saud. Shah rarely spoke of his youth, and so it was a joy for me. I should say that he only agreed to venture down memory lane because I had described certain adventures that I myself had experienced. I was about to take my leave when Shah reached out and touched my arm. I want to show you something, he said. I paused and shrugged. In silence, Shah stood up, went out of the room and out into the bedroom he used when staying at the home of his sister Amina. He was gone a long while, so much so that I began wondering whether he intended to return. But then he burst back into the room with a small box in his hands. He asked me to take my time and to observe it, which is exactly what I did. It was crafted from the very finest mahogany, the surface of every side inlaid with fragments of mother of pearl. I said it was quite the loveliest thing I had seen in a good long while. Open it up, said Shah. I did so. Inside was what looked like a single apricot seed. I frowned. What's that doing in there? I asked. Shah looked at me hard. It was the kind of look he gave you when he wanted you to understand something critical. It's a lesson, he replied. What lesson could an apricot seed be in a box, a lovely box? I asked him. It's a reminder, Shah intoned in a slow, methodical tone, that however exquisite it is, a container is no more than that. It is just a container, but that if given the right conditions, the contents that is contained within has the opportunity to change lives in the most profound ways possible.